Hi guys, so today I wanted to go over with you all the number one thing that you need to do when you get a dog or a puppy. And the reason that this is so important is it's an entirely different species and we need to bridge that communication gap. So the very first thing that you need to do before you can start any type of training is to establish a clear line of communication. And this needs to be concise and consistent every single time. So the very first thing that we're going to want to establish is a positive marker to let your dog know when they've done something that you like. So some people use verbal markers like yes, or you can also use a clicker. The benefits of a clicker is that it does create a consistent sound every time, and it does help people that have problems with timing a little bit. Your verbal marker, the one thing that you really need to pay attention to with this is that it is the exact same each and every time. So what I mean by that is you can't go yes and then yes sometimes. Your tone needs to be exactly the same because those sound like two different things to your dog. So you need to make sure that your timing is perfect and that they understand that. And on top of that, we have to charge this positive marker so that they understand the meaning. So what that's going to look like is pairing it with food or playtime or affection, and you will make the noise, whether it's your clicker or yes, and then you will hand a piece of food. I like to use food for food motivated dogs to start because this does set a good tone. So once we have charged this marker, and this can take 30 minutes or so of just repeating the same thing over and over again, we've opened a line of communication with our dog that lets them know when they've done something that we really like. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do as well is establish a release cue. So this lets them know when they've completed a task or they're done working and they can do as they please. You can use this on walks, with training, all kinds of stuff. You can use the word break, release, free, but this just lets your dog know that work time is over and they can move from the position they're in or from whatever they're doing and do as they please. The third thing that you are going to want to establish as well is a cue to let them know when they're doing a good job. So maybe this isn't immediately followed by food, but it does let them know, hey, yes, you did the right thing. I like this. Keep doing this. So mine is very simply, good boy or good girl. And this just lets them know, yes, you did do what I like. I want you to continue to do that. And it's usually followed by some type of praise or affection. The next thing that you're going to want to establish is a marker that lets them know when they've done something you don't like. So this may be a negative marker. And mine is very simply, because that comes to me naturally when my dog does something that I don't want to see, like jumping up or counter surfing, any of those types of things. But we have to charge it again. There has to be meaning behind it. So the way that I do that is I pair it with a little bit of leash pressure. As soon as I say that, I also pair the word with the leash pressure. This way it puts a little bit of meaning behind it, and you'll find eventually that you can just use the marker and they will respond to that. Now, there are some caveats to the leash pressure. You don't want the dogs to think of leash pressure as necessarily a negative thing. You do want them to think of it as a time to engage with you if they do feel leash pressure. So before that, I would condition them to understand that the leash pressure means that they need to come back and focus on me. So leash pressure is not necessarily a negative thing. It just means, hey, come back and focus on me here. So first, I would be conditioning them to understand that the leash pressure meant that. And the way that I would do that is by very simply having the leash on, probably a slip lead, and applying a little bit of pressure. The second they respond to it and they run towards me, I'm going to mark that with my positive marker, which might be the clicker or yes. So you will want to have that charged before trying this. After you have established these things, you have opened a line of communication with your dog and you can start training. But the very first things that you're going to want to establish is your positive marker. This is going to go miles in your training. If you don't have an open line of communication with your dog, something clear, consistent that they understand, how are you ever going to communicate to them what you want? Okay, guys, I hope you found this helpful, and let me know in the comment box what else you'd like to see. Have a nice night. Bye.